Hello, friends. Today, we take great pleasure in introducing our guest Amit, who recently made a successful transition from a non IT to a Scrum Master role. By following CareersTalk, he managed to secure success in 5 interviews with prominent companies such as Verizon, Bank of America, JP Morgan, Vodafone, and MDocs. His journey served as a truly inspiration tale, especially for those individuals who are grappling with job search challenges. So, in this session, we will be posing several questions to Amit, and some of which deviate from the standard questions. And before we conclude, don't miss out on showing your appreciation by liking this video. Your actions serve as a driving force for our team to continue delivering the valuable content tailored for all of you. So be sure to share your thoughts and feedback in the comment as well. And before further ado, let's extend a warm welcome to Amit. Amit, welcome.
Hey, thank you so much, Sunan. Thank you for having me here. First of all, let me introduce myself, and then I'll go to the vote of gratitude. So, myself, Amit. I'm actually from a non-IT background. I was in the operation side, and then when I decided to venture into the IT background, I researched something and found Scrum Master. I was a lead there, so that portion helped me out to finalize on the Scrum Master field. And after that, when I was in a confusion on where to gather the materials or how do I actually transition, that's where I stumbled upon the Career Talks page. And I did the certification. That is one part. Apart from the certification, my entire preparation study material was from Career Talks. Thanks to you, thanks to the network that we have, I've been able to get all the interview questions that I'm going to get in the actual interviews. I made a note of every questions, and I actually have a huge note filled up with all the contents there, and that's my study material, and that would be my success mantra as well. For any aspirants here, please go through the Career Talks video section in detail. You would the content here are huge, and that should be enough for you to clear any interviews that are out there. So thank you for having me here, Sunan.
Great, great. Good to know. Thank you. Okay, so friends, if you want a separate session with Amit, like how he has done a transition from a non-IT to a Scrum Master role, we will do that in future. So please put in a comment if you want to see that. But this session is few questions which were asked in the different interviews. We are going to share with you, and of course, some of these questions are totally different, not been shared on our channel so far in the past. So please stay tuned and watch complete session. So Amit, are we ready? Shall we go ahead?
Sure, Sanan. Shoot up.
Okay, great. Yeah. Okay. So industry thinks that Scrum Master is a part-time role. What do you think about it? Please go ahead.
Okay. So it is actually the industry has a fair assumption that it is a the Scrum Master role is actually a part time. I have 2 pointers here. One is it is right on one aspect and it is completely non-acceptable on the second aspect. So how do we derive whether it is right or wrong based upon what the company requires or the organization requires? If the organization requires that, as a scrum master, I have to facilitate all the events. I have to make sure that the events are happening. It is fine, we can be on a part-time role. But if the organization needs scrum or agile to be adopted within the organization, then there should be a person who makes sure all the events are meeting their goals, all the events are actually making sense. So if that has to happen, if the organization has to preach agile in its core sense, then the scrum master can never be in part-time role. So no. Yeah.
Great, great. Thank you. Okay, so you have also mentioned about coaching and mentoring the teams in your CV, right? So, what do you mean by coaching and mentoring?
Okay. So the ideal difference between these two is coaching is for the entire team within general agenda, or coaching is more towards a general audience or a more audience wherein we pick our agenda and then give them whatever is required for that module or anything. Mentoring is little bit different, wherein we check what is required for that individual and devise a course, plan a course, or plan something, and then we actually take it to them so that there is an outcome attached towards it. So that is the major difference between these two. And as a scrum master, we have to be involved in both coaching as well as mentoring at the required stances. And mentoring is also where we have to talk to the individual, understand their needs, and then make sure he is actually progressing in that path. So mentoring is a kind of an end-to-end process, where coaching is like an one stop, can be a one stop solution as well. Sure.
Okay. And would you like to give some examples on this? Is it
Sure,
possible?
sure. And so, for example, let's say we are introduced to a team wherein they are actually new to Agile. There, the team is in need of coaching, wherein for the entire team, we have to take them through the entire process of agility, whichever methodology is suitable for that particular team. We have to walk them through all the methodologies, what are all the benefits of the methodologies, what are all that we are going to be doing as part of the methodology. Everything can be done, which is actually coaching. But on the second example, wherein let's say one individual is, or any one developer is not interested in joining any of the events, their mentoring comes part, because first of all we have to understand why that particular member is not interested in any given event, and then we understand the problem, go up with a plan, and then make sure that he understand the value of the event, and then ask him to be present in those events. For example, retrospective, for example, I came across this scenario wherein the senior most developer thinks that retrospective is not a value add for them. So when I talked to them, when I made him understand that his expertise, his technical expertise is going to be a major factor contributing to the entire team, be not in retrospective but in other aspects, it is going to be very vital. Then he was in an thought that he will give it a try, and then he will see how it progress. And from that point on, he was curiously part of every event. So this is just an example that come to my mind, Sunil.
Okay, great. Okay, thanks for that.
Thank you.
Okay, so what do you think that Scrum Master had this word master attached to this role and no other designation? You have any thought on that?
Yeah, that's really a great question. Thanks, Sunil. So, uh, I think the master is a person who learns something, imbibes it into him, and then he is capable of actually teaching it to others. And also, he stands back and see if they are actually doing it right. I think that's when someone has been titled as master, right? And the same applies for Scrum as well. The Scrum Master, though the name denotes is a Scrum Master, is well versed in Scrum. The Scrum Master also understands or has a fair understanding of other methodologies there in Agile. The Scrum Master learns those methodologies. He comes to an organization, he gets into a team, teaches that to that particular team or for the entire organization as well. And then he makes sure it has been adopted. And all these three phases, including he learned something, he is teaching them, and then he's making sure it has been adopted. I think because of these three vital aspects, he's been used, or he has the title of master behind him. I think that's the reason, Sunam.
Okay, great. Okay, so if Scrum Master role is just about facilitation, as most of the people think right now, so what do you think? A developer or a product owner can do that role additionally, maybe as a additional role and responsibility. So, what do you think about it, and why do we have to hire a Scrum Master separately for it if PO or a developer can do this role additionally?
Okay. So we have two scenarios here. One is the PO doing it himself or the developer doing it himself. The entire setup, if the PO has to concentrate on Scrum, the PO is a person who actually takes part of the product side. He's quite occupied on the product side. And when he takes part of the Scrum Master, I expect that the push towards the product delivery might be greater, because he is from the product origin. His ideal goal is to, as per the Scrum guide, is to maximize the utilization of the team. And maybe he might not know that he's actually pushing the team to do this much or that much. That might be a case. Okay. And then someone who is already taken the course of a Scrum Master, he has already worked, he has already handled the team, which would be much more appropriate for that role. And then let's say if a developer is taking part, there would be at some point, if a PO or a developer taking part, there would be some part wherein they might not have the events as a priority. They might not have the feedback loop that we have, that the Scrum Master can actually bring in into the team. in a nutshell, I would say that uh, if they are able to do it without actually having a toll on their actual capabilities of PO or being a developer, and if they are also being efficiently managing the Scrum role, then that might be a possibility. But I don't think we are in that sort of a maturity here. And to add one more point, so the Scrum Guide says that we have to have motivated individuals and get the work done by them by creating a suitable environment. And by suitable environment, they mean that the team has to be left out so that they are concentrating on what is priority for them, what is major for them. And only when Scrum Master is here, he would be able to create that environment by leaving their own work to them. PO is concentrating on the product side, developers are concentrating on the delivery side, whereas the Scrum Master is ensuring that they have the environment in a nutshell without any problems. I think it sums up the question, Sunil.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so again, we keep on hearing these two terms, sprint demo and you say sprint review. So what do you think? Is there any difference between these two terms, or they are same, or what do you think about it?
Well, there is a practice of people having it different names. Ideally, it is sprint review, but I've heard few people saying sprint demo. But I would like to break down the meaning of these two terms so that people don't use it in future. So Scrum says Scrum pillar is transparency, inspection, and adaptation. So when it is demo, it is only the transparency part wherein the developer is actually showcasing something that he has built on, and from there it stops. Okay, someone is demoing something, which means that you are able to see something that has been already built. But on a review session, not only the transparency comes in, the process of inspection and adaptation also comes in by taking in the feedback of the person who is actually reviewing it, which is most probably the stakeholders or the product owner or anyone of that matter. So the difference here is people usually, they use it by mistake, but I would also take this time to explain the underlying factor on these two. The demo part, only the transparent part is taken care of, wherein we are able to demo what has been created. But with respect to the review, it's where the actual goal of the sprint review is achieved by making sure that we are getting the feedback loop from the stakeholders and implementing it from the next sprint. I think this is the difference.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so let's move on. We keep on hearing this term, product backlog refinement, right?
Hmm.
So why this PBI is an activity and not a proper event like other sprint events? Your take on that?
Okay. Okay. So I would like to explain the difference between event and activity, and then I'll get to that part. Sunan. So event is something that is based out on empiricism, wherein it is going to be on an iterative process. It is going to be scheduled on particular event, or I mean a particular time frame, and every event has an goal out of it, and then it has to happen within a certain time frame. The reason behind having this is it has to be iterative. That's why we are having the repeated sessions, and it has an outcome on every iteration. That is the difference. That is the term. I mean, that is the meaning of an event. But with respect to product backlog grooming, we don't have any outcome that has to be associated with it. Okay, it is an user defined, or it can be used as per the team's convenience. And product, and for example, in an event, let's say planning, the event sole purpose is to do the planning, and the outcome of the event has to be the sprint goal and the sprint backlog. But with respect to take other events, for example, sprint review and sprint retrospective, we have an outcomes attached towards it. But that is not the case with respect to the product backlog grooming. We can use it on any purpose. Let's say if we don't have anything to be groomed, we can use that session for making sure that the team is cross functional. And since it is an user defined, and it does not have an outcome attached to it, I think that's why it is called as an activity, and the others are called as an event.
So you mean to say in PBI, basically what we do, basically we break down the larger products or different services such as user stories into a smaller task, right?
Right.
So do you think this is not the outcome of uh, product backlog refinement?
But that is not the sole outcome of the refinement, right, Sunan? Like
Mm-hmm.
we can also use it for any other aspects, right? Like I know I have seen product backlog grooming wherein there are some technical stories wherein without the developers, the PO is not able to break down the stories. And there, the
Mhm.
resultant is that we are able to break down the stories. The goal is to break down the stories and make sure the acceptance criteria are everything is clear. But on another session, I have heard, I have been in a session wherein the session was for making sure we are ready for the next sprint, right?
How?
Like
How?
we had to groom, we have the PO has to explain the user stories, we have to make sure the estimation is done there. So here,
That's a part of. That is a part of refinement.
right, but here I don't see any specific goal being attached to it. Okay, we can use it for refining or for creating the user story itself. On the other part, we can use it on a place where we have to give the estimation, we have to clarify any questions that might be on for the next sprint. And in case if you are done within 30 minutes out of a 1 hour session, we can also use it for other activities like making the team cross functional. We can have any developer take some time and explain what has been done on his side or other side. So since there is no outcome or anything that has to be attached, or the scrum guide doesn't say this has to be an outcome of this particular activity, I think that's why it is still being called as an activity.
Okay, so I will not want to get into detail into this, but
Okay,
it's okay.
fine.
But for me, the goal of PBI is to work with the Scrum team, with stakeholders, whoever is relevant, to get the product backlog items in a ready state.
Right.
That's the goal of PBI. Anyway, so thanks for your input.
Yeah.
I think let's move on. Okay, so as a Scrum Master, what are the different or common matrices which you have used so far?
So coming to the metrics part, we have used the sprint burn down, burn up charts, the sprint report in a nutshell, and then we majorly concentrate on the committed versus completed part. And then we also take the bugs that are being worked on for that particular sprint and the load distribution in any sprint. For example, the number of user stories that has been used, the capacity that has been used for new feature development, and the capacity that has been used for bugs, resolving bugs, and the capacity that has been used for operation tasks. So we use these major metrics in our organization, Sunan.
Do you know difference between a burn down and a burn up chart?
Yes. So burn down essentially gives us the number of tasks that we have actually completed. But on the other side, the burn up says the number of tasks that has to be completed. And I would recommend using a burn down chart because it is on an optimistic side of conveying the tasks that we actually completed. And here, sometimes I feel that since the burn up chart focuses on the number of tasks that has to be completed, sometimes I get a feel that it is something like we fixing a target and then working on it. So I feel that the burn downs are a little bit optimistic there.
No, no. So I think I missed something. Can you just repeat and be little
Okay,
slow?
okay,
Burn
sorry.
down and then burn up. Yeah, one,
Okay,
one, one. Yeah, please
fine.
go ahead.
Burn down is something which actually summarizes the progress of the sprint by actually giving a graph between the time frame and the number of user stories that we have already completed or number of tickets that we have completed. Whereas on the burn up chart, it is the quite the opposite, wherein it says the number of tickets that we have to complete. It plots a chart on based on the number of tickets that we have to complete.
Both are same thing, whatever you told. So either you
Right,
see like this or like this. So what's the difference?
right. When we say the number of tickets that we completed, I feel it is on an optimistic note, saying that we have actually achieved this much and we have this much to go. But on the other side, on the burn up, the way I see it is sometimes the people or the team might feel that since it has the number of stories that has to be completed, it feels like setting up a target. And I don't want anyone to take on that role. So that's why I prefer using burn down.
Okay, so I think there is some correction is required. There is one major thing which is missing. That's the difference, Amit, which you have not told us. But anyway, that's okay. We will
Hmm,
talk about this at the end of the session.
okay.
Perfectly okay. Okay, so what do you think about the future of Scrum Master? Because now let's say you are a Scrum Master, so where you look yourself after 5 years down the line? Can you please tell us about that?
Okay. So I wanted to actually progress in the same field wherein the next time looking for an agile coach, and in 5 years I'm looking out for the role of an RTE, and I'm in the process of actually connecting with the right people and getting to know their workflows, and then what is difference between the role of a scrum master and the next role, the agile, what does it take to be agile coach or an RT. Currently, I'm focused on the agile coach role, which is my next step. I'm focused on getting the inputs from the correct right person. And then on 5 year scale, I'm looking myself as an RT in an organization. So
Okay, that's wonderful. Okay, good to know, Amit. Okay, so I think for today, I think we are good. So thank you, Amit, for sharing your experience with all of us. And yeah, and before we finish, I want to remind our viewer to show your support by liking this video and subscribing to our channel. And by doing that, you will stay updated with the latest industry tips, interviews, and career advice. So until next time, take care, stay inspired, and keep watching. All the best. Bye, guys. Thank you, Amit.
thanks, Anand. Thank you for the opportunity again. And I wanted to take this time to say again that Career Talks is the place for any person who would aspire to switch their careers to any of the IT roles that they are. And please be diligent in taking notes for all these sessions that you go through, because that really helps during the interview process. Thanks again, Sunan, for having me here. See you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.